Good.
Even if even though that there are signs that suggest that, but as it is, Nigeria can't be a one-party state because our constitution, it does not allows multiplicity of political parties. And of course, we know that the INEC has registered severally registered political parties, and we also registered some political parties for obvious reasons. And of course, when you talk about the multi-party system, of course, we have more than two political parties. And so if there exists more than two political parties in a country, then it's a multi-party system. And not to even talk about maybe two parties, which can also be seen to be a one-party arrangement. So as long as the laws or the gun norm and other expanded laws allow for multiplicity of parties and the number of parties, the political parties have been registered to participate at the various elections. I do not see Nigeria drifting to a one-party arrangement. The only here, Nigeria is like 13% worked up when they see certain time. Of course, without missing words, political class in Nigeria generally are only interested in what gets into their pocket without any form of ideology. Ideology ordinarily drives membership of political parties the world over. But that's not the case of Nigeria. A lot of them, no matter how they have had access to state resources, they are never enough for them. All that they want is the resources and access to the corridors of power. And what happens, they do not mind whatever ideology that the so-called political parties that they claim to be members. Of course, even when they are said to be defecting to this political party, you should also know that the same thing that changed them today, or the same things that are changing them today, or the same things that changed them yesterday, will as well change them out of those political parties, because there will be no end to it. There will be no end to it. My worry is the ordinary Nigerians that have been cajoled always into joining forces with this one, claiming to be fighting for the cause of Nigeria. And at the end of the day, there's nothing to show for it, to be honest. Nothing to show for it. Nothing is happening in the country. No form of ideology, no form of manifestos, that should be able to drive the kind of programs that the government elected should drive, unfortunately.
Well, Prof, we have to take a break now, but responding to what you've said, and you would hopefully respond to this after the break, it's not really about the existence of multiple parties. I mean, you and I can literally go and register a party with INEC, but it's about the representation. At this time, the PDP has 12 states, NNPP has 1, Labour Party has 1, and the rest is with the APC. So when you speak about majority, they are a great majority. And as we speak, there are speculations that about 2 or 3 states are about to defect to the APC. So it's a question of numbers, not the existence of other parties. But after the break, we'll speak more to this. Please stay with us.
Ajuru Info. We'll be right back.
Oracle Chinedu here, and we're having conversations around, is Nigeria becoming a one-party system? My guest, Professor Ken Nweke, Professor of Politics and Governance with Ignatius Ajuru University, has joined me in the studio. You're welcome, Prof.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm good, Oracle.
Okay. Thanks for making the time. So before the break, I was speaking to representation, not necessarily existence of parties. Ahead of an election, we see that INEC registers, I think, about 20, 30 or so. And then eventually some will now join forces and say they endorse a candidate, right? So they exist. But how many of them have governors, senators, House of Rep members? Usually the ruling party takes a larger chunk. But in this case, as confirmed, as of yesterday, the PDP covers 12 states. They have 12 governors. Labour Party has one, NNPP has one, and the rest are APC. And with Delta moving, I know it's no longer 12. There are speculations that Akwa Ibom and Rivers might, at least this is word on the streets until it becomes word in the news. So that means that the APC is gaining ground. So the one-party system conversation is around a majority to maybe dangerously 80 to 90%. If it gets that, I don't know if I should say bad, or if it gets to that point, is there a threat to a viable democracy?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. Yes, because it's a threat. And then no, because of course there will be remnants, of those that are in the opposition. You have not even asked where you and I, would fall into. Of course, when people must have political parties, float candidates ordinarily. If we're in a sane country where things work according to plan, not where citizens will citizens will turn out in their large numbers to vote in an election with our own koro eyes that result seats are turned into something else. And of course, it's in some states like ours that can happen. But it cannot happen in some other states, where results. Of course, during the last election, Oracle, Labour Party was virtually winning in almost all the units for the presidential election. So was it, what's the relationship between the results that were finally announced and what came out from the different polling units? But that's a story for another day. But the point I'm trying to make here is that for me, yes, it may look like a threat, yes, because some governors that hold certain positions in some states, like the PDP state, maybe are all running to the political party that is in power. But that does not take away the fact that, by constant education mass education that is going on, a lot of things are going on, quietly, that you do not know, or that are not there in the public domain. People are strategizing. Of course, how many Nigerians actually vote during Buhari's era with that other election that brought him into power,
2015.
Yes, and you are talking about 14 to 16 million votes, so to say. But there are more Nigerians than that number you are talking about. Of course, undecided. Either they are sleeping in their houses or they are in the studio, like Oracle. On that day, they won't come out. Or that there are elder lecturers who decided to stay in their quarters and say, waiting concern me, because, people are going to write results. Or, equivalent of my late mom, who would not bother ordinarily to go out on election day. But by the way the things are, with the way things are going today, mass education is ongoing. Okay, people are disgruntled about the government of being ruled by the PDP. And so for me, yes, you may look at it as a threat because, of course, when you have a sitting governor with all the resources and with everything that pertains to, power play and all that there will be mobilization for voters, in that direction. But, Oracle, the way we are going, when a man is hungry, of course, and then constantly you continue to educate him, because what we need is forceful education, because our people are appearing to be defiling all kinds of education or mobilization that we are doing to conscientize them into understanding that these ones are playing with their destinies. But we will continue to do that, and if we continue to do that and succeed in the next 2 years, probably the number you are seeing, like you say, the Bible will say, the Egyptians you see today, you may see them no more. So if you have more than 30 million Nigerians who may have been undecided in the past, joining forces on election day to determine who governs them, then protect their votes. So either you kill us, here, or you don't succeed. So a number of things will happen, Oracle. So that's why I said yes and no.
Prof, there are perspectives to elections in Nigeria. Now, I know that voter apathy has been what I would call a Nigerian culture. I also know by observation and covering different elections, both here in Nigeria Info and, while I was working wherever I was, that the turnout for the last election was heavier. I conversed with more people than I can number that said, this is the first election where I'm going to vote, right? Some said, I had PVC before, but I've never used it, but this time I will use it. Obviously, they aligned with a particular candidate. Some said, I'm going to get a PVC because I want to vote this time. So the one election where people now decide to come out and exercise their franchise, and a lot of those people are dissatisfied with the outcome. What it has done is it has taken them back to exactly where they were before they made that decision to exercise, and validated their position that, after all, then go still do waiting, then go do. Secondly, a lot of people say, it doesn't matter that this person defected to the APC. He's one man. He has one vote. But you see, he might have one vote, but he has the influence of millions. Delta State, for example, regardless of how it's going to happen, it is almost certain at this point that in the next election, if Sheriff remains an APC member, the APC will win Delta. Because the governor and all of the politicians defected, the predecessor defected, so they will do as much as they can, which is the political influence, to ensure that they win the state for the national. So when you juxtapose that voter apathy is reactivated, that it might be one man, but he has large influence, the real threat is really about, and I don't want to use the word, but that's all that comes to mind, the structure, the political structure that is created because more politicians are under a party.
Oracle. Yeah, understand number one, number two, right? When you have, let me start even from the last. Or the first. You talk about political party. Voter party.
Yeah.
When you talk about political parties, is more general than specific for voter party. But if I will even choose to say there is political party, which involves both voter party and the things that pertain generally to politics. And that's what we talk about, because apart from voter apathy or voting, when you talk about other aspects of political apathy, people should be responsible for holding their leaders accountable. That's not part of voter voting process. I get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and all of these things revolve around, political party, as far as I'm concerned. They didn't do their thing. Waiting concern me. They started from the election time, which you call voter party. And then when people win elections, of course, they don't win. Now 4 years. In fact, now 8 years. And then after the 8 years, they reproduce. After 8 years. And then at the end of the day, they reproduce themselves. And then they continue in cycles. I understand all those. And of course, like you are pointing out that there's a likelihood that those who made up their minds that this time, 2023, this time, we will come out in our numbers and determine who actually governs us. But unfortunately, these ones that dusted their PVCs stood in the sun, in the rain, just to get PVC. We are disappointed when before them the results showed. But after you saw all manner of mutilations. In fact, I say that I don't know whether it's common in Rivers State, and I paid anybody to challenge me in this studio because I am a participant. I vote in elections and I go home, I sit, stand, whatever, and participate. And I also go around and I analyze and get feelers from all over. That when people want to even rig elections, they don't even know how to rig elections. Clean. And you have all manner of mutilations. Unfortunately, we have a judiciary, in case of Imo State. I don't know how they even came about by collating results. I'm sure that they may have also collated, those justices collated results that were mutilated in Imo State. I'm sure, I'm very sure. Because that has become our culture. And so you find results sheets mutilated. And probably people got how disappointed that if we turned out in a large numbers in this manner and something happened. And of course, it may have happened more in certain states than other states. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. That, of course, should not make Nigerians to shy away from their civic responsibilities. And that is why some of us have deferred whatever we are doing today to be here in the studio to ensure that we continue to preach the gospel. It's a gospel. Prof, and of course, Oracle.
That's
this thing means getting converts. To get converts.
It's a difficult gospel to preach.
No. Hang on. I'm telling you, as difficult as it is, people are still preaching on the streets today. Even if it's difficult to get converts on the streets, right? But people are still preaching the gospel. Okay, it is difficult to get converts. To begin to see what some of us are seeing. That it is not about the mass defections that you are saying today, because they are the same people. They are the same people. So they are the same people. They are not seeing. They are not seeing anything different.
Prof, let me ask you.
Yes.
If a politician tells you that next month, okay, we're already too close to next month, that in the month of June, that's the month after May, Nigeria will have steady and constant power supply, what would you tell him?
An average politician in Nigeria.
Okay.
Tells me that.
Let's say an above average, a politician, a political.
And when I say average,
holder.
I'm just saying minimal, a politician.
Okay. Okay. A person who holds a position of authority in some office, whether elective or selective, right, tells you, Professor Nweke, June 2025, Nigeria will have steady and constant power supply. What would you tell that person?
Oracle, I will go to his history. It's important to begin to look at, the historical antecedents of people. Who is this person?
Okay.
I'll look at his history now. There are people I cannot believe. Most politicians, I can't trust them for any reason.
Okay.
I don't hang on. But does not mean that out of 10 politicians, that you will not have some, even if it's 3 out of 10, that when you look at their histories, okay, the antecedents, how they came to limelight, that you say, it's not always the case that, when Nweke was, a child from his village, we could talk about him. We could talk about how he participated in community affairs. Let me tell you, one day it will go to that level. And it's also moving in 2027. For instance, if Kenneth Nweke today wants to run governorship election of this state, people should be able to go to my village, my community, to ask, or Google about, it's easier for you to just do one call here now. You get to know people. So know your antecedents, trace where this man went to school and other his mates and other, and then his work life.
Now.
And then Oracle, know a bit. I'm not saying that it is always the case. to say that this one will do well. But it is important to delve into people's, history. Okay. I am saying to be able to have little confidence to say, okay, make we try this one first.
Now, Prof, besides looking at the politician's history, there is your own history. Mm-hmm. And your history is that the last 10 people that told you that same thing did not deliver. So sometimes it is beyond where this person has been, what they have done, and it is now about how many times people have failed to deliver that same promise. A girl whose heart has been broken by Obi, Femi, and Yusuf, Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba men, will not care that a guy from Benue has a good history. She will care about the fact that her heart has been broken by men. So sometimes it is your history. And it depends.
Let me stop you.
It is your history.
No. Let me stop
shines
you.
Brighter than.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going. In the case of that, okay, there are still people who will Oracle can go out of the same. Oracle can go and position himself very well, reposition himself very well, reassert himself very well before that woman. And that woman will forget about the 10 people that had. Disappointed her. And also it is like we are saying here today.
I must also understand.
No matter how disappointed as Nigerians may be about the political class, there are still some people that have consciences that, they are really determined to help us drive, the kind of process. You see, yes, it may be difficult, like you said, that is a difficult task. Very difficult task to convert people. But some of us have vowed to even drop our lives to convert, very ardent Nigerians who cannot be converted. And when we do that, as we are doing that, Oracle, we will convert as many as that will join forces,
okay,
to fight what you feel that is a threat to Nigeria's democracy.
All right. So the next voice you hear will be that of the listener. 08179230002, 08179230003. The question is simple. Is Nigeria becoming a one-party state? Of course, the Prof has spoken about the dangers of this particular system, saying yes and no. He doesn't see that happening completely. But if there is too much of a majority on a particular side, there are dangers that it poses. If and when you call, please turn off your radio. Article A says, please, I beg to differ, the word win shouldn't be excluded from Nigerian elections. It's collect. No Nigerian politician wins elections. You take Jesus Christ physically from heaven to convince me to participate in the next election. I appreciate the Prof, but I think he is pouring water on stone. The answer is yes, that Nigeria is heading towards a one-party system. Well, the Prof says he will not stop preaching. That's Article A, and he believes that you will eventually become a convert. So that is a soul for you, Professor Nweke. Obed from GRA is on the phone. Hello, Obed.
Yes, Mr. Sam. Good afternoon or good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, Mr. Sam, I think there is not to worry about.
Okay.
All this defection is inconsequential.
All right.
If citizens can galvanize themselves to make sure that the National Assembly amend some section of the Act, which is compulsory transmission of results.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
If you have time, where the problem came out the last time, you understand? If that section is amended and we have a viable electoral system, all these defections is nothing. You understand? These people, 2% of the population, how many are they? How many of their supporters? So for me, all this defection is inconsequential.
Okay.
And if this defection, you think that Nigeria is going into a one-party system, no, it's a no-no for me. You understand? People like me, I believe you also, you have the same mind like me. We cannot go on that side. You understand? So, defection or no defection, what we need right now is a very reliable electoral system. You understand? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Obed. Emeka calls from Elele. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, your guest.
Yeah, good evening, Origi.
It's quite unfortunate to hear when politicians speak what is not correct. How can you come to radio and tell us that when people defect, there is something you will do that all other people will not believe you of what you are saying here? Politicians are the same people. Who is the politician from heaven? Is it not the same politician? You are dragging how you will get power. And when you get the power, you become a bird that you cannot catch. It's a disappointment. In short, what happened is that carry go whatever you are doing. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Emeka calls from Elele. Hello, Emeka. Good evening.
Yes, my dear brother, good evening.
Good evening.
Defection or no defection is immaterial. Why I said it's immaterial? If you want people that are defected, is the first timer governors that is defected just to secure their second tenure. They are afraid of losing second tenure. This election that is coming by 2027 is between APC and the ordinary Nigerians. What happened 2023 cannot happen again. They cannot sit on their comfort of their hotel room to write results. Who will carry protest to their parlor, to their bedroom. It can't happen again. If like they should appoint their cousin INEC chairman, new INEC chairman, it cannot work again.
Okay.
Our PVC must stand.
All right.
Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Emeka. Hart from Rumosi. Hello, Hart. Good evening.
Good evening, Sam.
Good evening.
Oracle. Yes, I want to also greet my my lecturer, Professor Nweke.
Thank you.
He taught me when I was in year one, Ignatius.
Okay, let's leave the conversation. Did he teach you well?
Yes, he did. I believe.
Did you pass his course?
And I believe he would say, yes.
Okay.
111, politics and governance.
Okay, that's okay. Please go ahead.
Yes. Okay. I think
He didn't ask you whether I insulted me.
No, it's not. Hart, please go ahead.
No. Okay. I think Nigeria is heading towards one-party system, and which is not really good in our democracy, because today, what is the essence of opposition is to put the government of the day to start working effectively. But when you discover that people are supposed to be an opposition, it's not shifting grounds. Where is the check and balance? How will they put the government in day for them to be up and doing? Because today is whoever is in power today, that is where you see politicians who are hungry and who want to cover crimes. They will go to the other parties. As the senator said, Oshomole said, if you come to APC,
your sins are forgiven.
Your sins are forgiven.
Yeah.
You see, that is why you see these mass defections of politicians who couldn't withstand any form of pressure, so they defect. So Nigeria, one-party system, is a failure, and it will ridicule our democracy.
Okay. Thank you very much, Hart. We have a break coming up in a matter of seconds. After that break, we wrap up conversations. The good professor will tell us the next step to take to ensure that we have a democracy that works. Please stay with us.